You probably feel that too. That thing in the air, that sense of newness, the sense of ending, and maybe death and rebirth. It's something that I've been feeling for a while, and I've had signs that it was happening or going to happen. For me, it's also just, we can take in the view together. Arla, come here, come on. For me, when I wear a bracelet for years, or maybe less than a year, depending on the situation, when it breaks, it usually means that the end is near. I felt called to, dye my hair or make it blonder, which you guys have actually been very kind about. When I got highlights, like just basic highlights, a few months prior to that, there were a lot of people upset about it. I'm like, you guys have only known me for a year on here, but I've always changed my hair. I love having the freedom to change my hair. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I also don't think that there's anything wrong with like not being 100% natural. Like you can still be a spiritual, health-focused person and like wear some makeup and change your hair, do whatever the fuck you want. Like I don't want a boob job, but if you want to get a boob job, it's not going to make you less spiritual. Don't believe any of that BS that people say. Like, sure, I try and always go the more natural route. That is my goal. I've been on a health journey for over a decade now. I was diagnosed with Lyme disease. I did all these different treatments for it, mold illness, POTS, chronic inflammatory response syndrome, mast cell activation syndrome. Like, I know the whole deal. I know natural. I know blah, blah, blah. I know. I used to not be able to leave my house because I was so sensitive to mold and mycotoxins, to EMFs, to chemicals. Like I could barely go to the grocery store. I could not go to homes of other people because most homes have mold. I couldn't have people come into my house. I understand toxins. I understand all of that. And I think it's just important that I'm supposed to say this right now is because I want you to be able to give yourself permission to just do whatever you want, be whoever you want, have whatever hair color you want, eat whatever you fucking want, just be the person you want to be, and wire in that is okay and that is enough and that is healthy and that is safe. You get to choose your associations with things. And so if you choose to think that it's unhealthy to have a cookie sometimes and you're gonna get fat, then that's what you will have as your reality. But honestly, what I believe to be true is like, even though I'm a nutritionist, I'm certified nutritionist, I know that there are benefits of eating certain ways and everything, but my human experience has taken me down the path of eating pretty much every single diet there is out there. I was vegan, carnivore, low histamine, low lectin, low inflammatory, all the different things. I did all the different things. I ate keto, I ate vegan keto for a while, vegetarian keto, because all I ate was like eggs and butter. And other things too. But what I learned and what I was meant to learn through that whole experience, because nothing was really making me feel better, was that association is what heals. And so I was just talking about this with somebody here on the farm who is very much into this kind of stuff. They have a friend who only lives off of energy that they channel. And so they haven't ate food in pretty much 4 years is what he was saying. And I know that to be true or possible because I've studied sun gazers before. I'm fascinated with the topic, and I honestly feel like I'm supposed to go down a path where I do more of that as I look into the sun. But you have to be barefoot. I'll talk more about sun gazing later, but pretty much you live off of the frequencies of the sun and of the earth, and it's really fascinating. So there's many different things that we can be doing, but we have all these different associations with how it should be. And so you get to choose. It's the end of a cycle right now. Something's ending and something is beginning. I decided one day, after all these different diets, I was looking at my blood type diet, looking at my Chinese medicine type diet, I was looking at, all these things. And I was like, there's nothing left for me to eat. So then I water fasted because I was It's like, when I was thinking about sun gazing and being a sun gazer, because I was like, there's just nothing else for me to eat. And I was like, maybe I can just choose. Like, I saw a Reiki person talking about how she's like, I just Reiki my pizza and then it's good for me. And I was like, it was a great reminder. I was like, yes, that is true. Like, we get to decide. And I love having the option. I don't know why we're going down this path, but we're meant to. I love having the option to sit at dinner like I did last night. We had a team dinner. One of our volunteers made pizza. I spent all day cooking, made all these wonderful toppings. It was so nice. And there's mold in the kitchen. There's a little bit of mold in the kitchen. I would have never in a million bajillion ever years ever thought that I could ever sit in a room like that with visible mold. It's not good to do for anybody. But I was like, okay. And I have been doing it in short little instances for team dinners and stuff. And I was eating the gluten and the dairy and all this stuff. And I was like, I choose. Every time I walk into that door, I say, I choose that I am safe and I am protected and I have a wonderful time and I get wonderful sleep. And my long-term health is even better because of this this evening that I have in this kitchen with these people and this food. And I choose that. And I make that association my job. Like when I'm sitting in there, maybe I feel a little bit of the symptoms starting to come up, which for me before would be slurring speech, disassociation, depersonalization, spinning room, incredible fatigue, bloating, like just my body would just, it would just shut down. And when I feel any little bit of that, I start to go into my high vibrational state and I wire in what I want. And so I visit my chosen timeline and I bring that energy forward and I say, this is how this room makes me feel. This is how this food makes me feel. This is how I choose to feel. And then that's my association. And if I choose that this pizza is healthy for me, then it's fucking healthy for me. And so it is. And so it's the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. There's so much chaos going on. 2 plane crashes in the United States, all these different policy changes, so much truth also coming through. Conspiracy theorists are now no one's actually been like, oh, I'm sorry for accusing you of being a conspiracy theorist about that whole thing that happened with the whole 2020 thing. But now it's just like, oh, yeah, that information was right. And all those people that we blamed for being conspiracy theorists, like, maybe they weren't right. But no one in my family has ever said sorry for, kicking me out of the family, pretty much, for being the one person who had a mind to think for my own. But I share that because I'm watching this from afar, because I live in Italy, and a lot of the stuff that I'm witnessing is happening in my home country, which is America. And even though there's a lot of chaos and a lot of things that, are not ideal, a lot of good is happening because of the chaos. The chaos has to happen. I love talking about chaos. I named my baby horse, who's due in a few months, Chaos. And the chaos has to happen in order for beautiful things to be born. That it has to be shaken up. We have to disrupt patterns. And so as I'm witnessing things ending right now, I'm like, whoa, it is the beginning of a new era. And that's on a small scale. My life is small relative to the entire world and beyond. And so I'm witnessing this person that has been here for a while that, is not mentally stable, that assaulted me. And I'm okay, but it was inappropriate. And it was something that I can always forgive, because I never want to hold on to resentment, so I don't feel that charge in my body. But I also know that this person cannot be in my inner circle, and that I have to have boundaries with them. And I told the person that they were dating, and they're still together, and he's leaving to go live with her, and in the States. And so it is the end of an era. Like, it's gonna be different, but it brings me so much peace that they're both gonna have their life somewhere else, and that we can move forward with our life here. It honestly brings me so much peace. And it's the end of an era in that way, and that creates this place that I decided to stay. uh, it allows it to be something completely different. For a while it was a lot of like shadow work, healing, a lot of boundaries, and a lot of, learning why I've attracted certain things into my life, and looking at those honestly and going back into my past and healing those bits of myself and the emotional loneliness part of myself that comes from like different things within childhood of maybe not feeling like my emotions were met or needs were met, and doing rounds of EFT tapping on that and working with my therapist and journaling and just finding myself again. Like for a while there, it was all consuming. Like when I was in Switzerland and I was in France and then I went to Portugal for a little bit right before I came here to Italy, I was like on a roll with my angels and guides. We were super connected, communicating all the time. I was super, in the zone. I was like so open to the divine, like having such clear communication. And then I got here and I didn't really have that anymore. And I had been trying to figure out why not, but it's because I really had to go down this path of like perceived reality shadow work. Like it manifested in front of me in order for me to actually be able to see it. And it's much easier to see it when it's in your reality than to just go deeply in meditation and whatnot and be like, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? And so I'm glad that I trusted myself and had the awareness to follow that and to see it through to the point where that cycle is ending. And I'm super, super grateful for that. And I feel that as a collective, a big cycle is ending and a new one is beginning. We're moved into Aquarius. We have all these different like planets are changing in so many ways this year. Like huge changes are happening astrologically, and we're feeling it. And when a planet changes, when a cycle ends, there is that like like adjustment period, and there's a grief period, and there's a reassociation period. And so as things are ending, you have the opportunity to really reassociate because your brain's not as attached to how things were, because it already sees that things are ending. And so now you get to look at everything and be like, this is how I feel about this. This is how I feel about this. This is how I choose to live. This is how I choose to see myself. And this is where I'm going to look. I was just talking with someone here who was talking to me about snowboarding and skiing, and I want to go snowboarding this weekend. And I was telling him, because he doesn't really snowboard or ski, I was like, well, you don't want to, because he was afraid of like every time he would look down the mountain, like how scary it would look. And I'd be like, well, you don't want to look down the whole mountain, because like that's where you're going to look, that's where you're going to go. If you're feeling the fear and you're looking there, then you're probably going to fall. But if you're just looking like right in front of you, and the only thing that you have to do, which is just like that meter in front of you, it's actually very achievable. It's not that steep, it's not that hard. If you look out in front of you the whole way, you're like, holy shit, that's a whole mountain, I'm flying down it, and that will raise all the fear, all the conditionings, all the things, and cause an outcome. So where you look, you go. And so right now, it's really important to decide where you're looking, and that will be where you go. And just like, when I go in that kitchen and the symptoms come on, I decide to look at my chosen timeline. I decide to look at myself in my most beautiful kitchen with my soulmate. We're making healthy muffins. They have like fruit and flax seeds and things in them, but they taste delicious. And like I'm making some for my neighbors because I love my neighbors. And like I'm just making this up on the spot right now. It's always a little bit different, but I visit that and it's high vibrational, and I reassociate my experience with that, and where I'm looking, I'm going. I'm not only going to that kitchen with all that beautiful stuff because I know I'm going there too, but I'm going towards a life that feels like that. And everything that feels like that will be my direction and my experience. And so it might be a hard time. You might be going through a lot. You might be grieving. You might be coping. You might be trying to figure out how to cope and what to do. And you might be feeling a little bit blocked, a little bit tired, a little bit stuck, a little bit frozen. And that's okay. That's part of the process. And the way that you get out is by slowly getting out and showing your mind and your body that it's safe to get out. And I know that even my therapist and I, like, we've had blocks towards EFT tapping a lot because the mind will be like, no, don't fix me, because if you fix me, then I have to go out and live this other life that's unfamiliar, and if it's unfamiliar, it's potentially unsafe, and that's how we got damaged before, so let's just stay here where we're frozen and not gonna get hurt. That's how the subconscious mind works. And so it will create blocks towards the things that are gonna make you feel safe because of that exact scenario. And so sometimes you just have to like crawl and get yourself just to do one round of EFT tapping. And then you do it and you're like, oh, I feel better. Let me do another round. Oh, I feel much better. And so, anyway, thank God for the end of this cycle. It's a big one. It's a completely different reality now. And it's going to be an adjustment too, of course. This person was someone that I went to for a lot of things before things got as chaotic. I had never learned about bipolarism before. I'd never known about bipolarism. Not personally, like I knew it was a condition, but I didn't know what it looked like, what it was like to be close to someone like that or in close proximity with somebody like that. And it's very interesting, and it's sad in a way, but it serves a purpose too. I know that it was created for some reason here on Earth. For my reason of experiencing it, it's so that I can learn where I stand in the truth. And I wonder what Zima's barking at. We've been having some wolfies, so hopefully there's no wolfies here. But Arlo's like, I don't know if I want to go down there. You need a haircut, Arlo. I've been having dreams, like every time I, have to be around this person, I've been having dreams of when I was younger and I dated an actual full-blown narcissist. And I fully lost myself in that because I was so brainwashed and I was so, like, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what the truth was. I was just like, I just gave in to whatever that was. And so I keep having nightmares pretty much of that. And so it reminds me of just knowing my truth, knowing my boundaries, knowing that I don't have to fix anybody. And so maybe that's a message for you too, is that you don't have to fix other people. It's not your job. Even if you love them, even if you're qualified, it's not your job to fix people, especially people who are not ready to be fixed, who are not willing to be fixed, who are not capable of being fixed in the way that you can offer support. People have to want to change, and it's not your job to make them want to change. It's okay to let people go, and it's okay to move on, and it's okay to face the parts of yourself that say you're abandoning them and that no one else will help them. They will find the help that they need. Sometimes they have to experience losing you and losing things in general in order to wake up and then finally want to change. So all you have to do is protect yourself, protect your energy, and move forward with that love for yourself and with that intention and with that sight of where you want to go and where you're headed, and hold on to that sight no matter what. And if something doesn't fit into that thing that you're looking at, that chosen timeline, someone in this perceived reality isn't part of that, then you might just have to let it go. You might have to cope and grieve with letting it go. And if it's not in your power to let them go, like in this situation, it wasn't in my power to like make them leave. I just had to create boundaries and end that cycle emotionally, energetically, like put up the wall and protect myself and say, I'm done with this cycle. These are my boundaries. I no longer welcome you into my space, into my essence, into anything. And then, within a week or two, this happens, which is incredible. So, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you are new here. Leave a comment if you feel called to do so. If you don't know what to say, you say, hello, Arlo. Hi, Arlo. Say, Arlo, you're the goodest boy in the world. He's not looking, but that is beautiful. Isn't it so beautiful? That's Zima right there. If you want to sign up for one of my programs, I have 21 days to know your divine guidance, 21 days to rewire your mind, and